My name is Jennifer Barretta. I live in New York City, New York, right in Manhattan. I grew up in Norristown, Pennsylvania. It's about 2 hours away from New York. And I really didn't start playing pool until I got to New York. People always ask me what pool rooms I played in Pennsylvania. I don't know. I didn't play when I was there. Right now I play out of Amsterdam Billiards. When I first started playing pool, it was because my husband and I were walking down the street in New York, and we passed a pool hall that's not there anymore. I believe it was called the Q Club. They had red felt on the tables, not cloth, felt. And we played a couple games, and I just kind of got the bug, and I was like, my husband was beating me. He's not a pool player. I'm really competitive, and I just couldn't figure out why would he be better than me at this game. There was no reason for it. So I decided to take secret lessons, and I was going to come back and beat him up really good on the table. And I called around, and Chelsea Billiards at the time, which is also no longer there, was offering a pool school. And the first night I showed up to pool school, I ran into one of the instructors. His name was Mark Finkelstein. And he showed me a few things, and he said, if you really wanted to, you could become a professional pool player. I didn't even know such a thing existed. I didn't know there were professional pool players. But he sounded convinced, so I was like, yeah, all right, I'll do that then. I don't know. After that first night at pool school, Mark gave me some drills to work on. At the time, I was a fashion designer, and I would go on my lunch break and go to the pool hall and get a rack of balls and do those drills for an hour and then go rushing back, and sometimes get in trouble when I went back because the time just got away from me. And I still remember when I was practicing in Chelsea, one of the older gentlemen that was there, I guess now, I didn't know at the time, you would call him a railbird. He kind of knew everybody's game, but he said, why are you here every day? What do you want? And I said, well, I want to go pro. And he said, you can't go pro. These girls have been playing their whole lives. You're just starting. You're just way too late. It's never going to happen. I said, all right, I'm going to show you. And I still use that as motivation to this day. I still hear it in my head. I've had a lot of success at pool. I mean, I've had a lot of success in the game of pool, but I've also had a lot of, interviews and magazine things and opportunities that other better players didn't have. And a lot of times those players took that out on me. And I understand it's not fair, but life's not fair. And what am I going to do? Turn something down? It's not like it's going to go to the player who's better than me. They're just going to give it to somebody else who's going to look good in their magazine. So it was tough, but I don't regret it. I made a good living. I got sponsors. I got exhibitions, and I made pool my profession. I was able to quit my job. Like I said, I know it's not fair to the other players, but it's not my fault. While I was playing in Chelsea Billiards, I met another player. His name's Jude Rosenstock, a local New York player, and he recruited me onto his APA team. He thought I was a steal at the time. They brought me on as a 3. I probably played better than that, but nobody really knew that. And I played in that league for a lot of years. It was a lot of fun. But one day, a friend of mine, who also played in the APA, a woman, she said, I'm going this weekend to play in a professional qualifier. And I didn't really know what it was. She said it's a 9-ball tournament. We're going to drive about 3 hours. It was in Virginia. And I had a car, so I was like, sure, I'm in. I didn't even know what I would have qualified for if I had won until I got there. Then I realized what I was playing for. And I don't know if I ever would have, I guess eventually I would have found out about it, but of course I didn't do so well in the first few, but eventually I started winning them, and that's how I got on the Pro Tour. When I started, I played in tri-state events. I started out as a D, and I worked my way all the way up. Now they may have me as like an A+ or an open. I don't know. I haven't played in a while, but there was a string there that when I was a B or a B+, I won like 3 tournaments in a row, and they're handicapped, and it was against male players, and I was at the highest handicap there, so that felt really good, knowing that I can compete with the men. Not only compete with the men, but give them weight and win. That was awesome. The people that I looked up to when I was starting would be Tony Robles. He taught me for a while, for a long while, and I definitely would not play the way that I do now if it wasn't for him. And of course, Jeanette Lee. I mean, she was sort of a role model to me, and I loved the way she was a great player, but she promoted her sexuality, and I thought that was really cool. I have played Jeanette Lee quite a few times. Oh, and you want to know the outcome? I think we've played, I'm going to say 3 times, and I won once. Not bad. Oh, wait a minute. 4 times. I won twice. I forgot about Korea. I won the whole thing. I was 5 months pregnant, and I'm sitting on the plane to Korea. It was a drag promotions event. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? I'm pregnant. I'm flying to Korea. What am I thinking? Why am I doing this? And I got there. There's a 10-second shot clock. Now, anybody who knows me, they know that like it takes me 10 seconds to like look at the shot and see what I want to do, and then like another 10 seconds to stay down on the ball and stroke. But I actually played awesome, and I ended up beating Jeanette and then beating Ga-Yeon Kim in the final and winning the Empress Cup in 2006. That was a career highlight. People don't know that I actually have like won things, you know.
They don't know.
I won my first televised ESPN match against the #1 player. I won that match. How cool is that? Like, but people don't know that. They see pictures and they think, well, she can't really play. I finished 3rd in a WPBA event. I had a chance to get to the finals, and somebody like slopped the 9 in, but we won't talk about that. Slopped the 9 in to win. But I'm over it now.
Yeah, it looks like.
One of my biggest strengths, I feel, is that I have a very selective memory. Within the course of a match and within the course of my career, I tend to forget about the bad things that happen. I forget about the bad rolls. I forget about, except for that 9 ball that Julie Kelly slopped in. I didn't forget about that. But I don't let it affect me. It's not going to do me any good. I feel like I have a pretty strong mental game. And I think part of that is not dwelling on the past and always staying in the present. I used to be a player that practiced 5 hours a day, every day. Now I have a 2.5-year-old. He's not in school yet, so I get 9 hours a week. It's a big change for me. But I'm still playing really well. I haven't brought it to a tournament yet, but I feel it's coming. I'm starting to feel like my old self, and it's getting exciting again. And I know that when he goes to school, these, can I say bitches? These bitches better watch out!
Yeah, they might take it out on you.
I did. I have a 2.5-year-old now. At the time that I was considering getting pregnant, my career was in full swing. I had good sponsors. I was playing great pool. I was having consistently good finishes, getting in the top 10 really often, beating top players. And my husband was like, I really want to have a baby, and I promise I'll help you, and I'll bring him to work, and you can still play pool and all that. And I was like, all right, fine, let's do it. So, of course, I got pregnant right away, and all through my pregnancy, I played. I traveled up until the 8th month. I didn't miss a single event. And then along came Max, and suddenly we realized that the plan that we had was really impossible. And I realized that there are more important things in life than pool. I've been criticized for this, but I took Max for the first year before he started walking. I took Max to the pool hall every day. But the pool hall that I play in was brand new. It was no smoking. There was nobody there in the afternoon, and I had a friend come and play with him while I would practice. I would never put my child in harm's way. I would never bring him into an unsafe environment. I just don't have a pool table at home, so I didn't have the luxury of just staying at home and practicing. I still loved pool, and I still love my child, so I just found a solution that gave me the best of both worlds. And that first year, I still played pretty well. I took him on the road everywhere with me, and I still managed to have a TV match, which means I think I finished in the top 8. Not easy to do the first year that you have a baby. But then when he started walking, I really couldn't take him to the pool hall anymore. He's very active, very loud. He likes to play with the pool balls. So I did something I never thought I would be able to do, and I did it so easily. I took an entire year off from the game. I didn't hit a single ball. I put it out of my head. I didn't think about it. For a while there, I kind of thought that I would never go back to it, and I was okay with that. But then my family started kind of pressuring me and saying, you can't just give it up. I know you still love it. Give it another shot. Max is older now. We can help you with him. We'll do whatever it takes to get you back out there. So I did. And now the first time I went away was really hard, but now I actually welcome the break, and it's really nice to have a piece of myself back. And I'm really enjoying more than ever the camaraderie on tour, which is something I didn't get involved in before. So now, not only do I look forward to going and playing pool as well as I can, but I also look forward to going and hanging out with my friends and having some me time. I have noticed that there has been a big change in attitude toward me since I had a baby. I'm not sure why. Some people say that I've changed, and I do believe that Max has changed me for the better, but I really believe that they've become more open to me, as if it makes me more vulnerable, or I don't know what it is, but the women definitely treat me differently since I've had Max. One day I was at Amsterdam East, another pool hall that is now closed. Jeanette Lee was there doing something for FHM, for Him magazine. And I think I may have just gotten on the Pro Tour, hadn't done anything yet, but she saw something in me, and she pulled me over to the people who were doing the shoot, and she said, this is Jennifer Barretta. She goes, she's an up-and-coming player. I really think that you should do something on her. And she really played up my game. I mean, she was like, yeah, she looks good too, but she really said kind things about my game. And she said, you better get her now before she's like famous or whatever, which was really cute. But so I did the FHM shoot. I couldn't believe it when they called me. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. One thing just came after another. And somebody pitched an idea to Playboy about doing a trick shot spread. People always ask me, why wasn't it a nude shoot? My answer is, they didn't ask me to take my clothes off, so why bother? And then other people ask me, well, would you take your clothes off? And I'd have to say, for the right amount of money, why not? I'm comfortable in my own skin. I don't think there's anything wrong with the naked body. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not intimidated by it. You know, I wish everybody felt that way, but for some reason, people are very uncomfortable without their clothes on. I'm not. I'm sure that people make judgments about me and think that I haven't done anything. I've read some bad things on the internet about me, about how I can't play and, you know, all this stuff. But I'm finally at a point in my life where I really don't give a crap what anybody thinks about me. I think being a mother does that to you. It's like, you don't like it, so what? So what? Who are you? I know what I did. I know what my accomplishments are. I think that I managed to stay in shape when I got pregnant and had Max. I ate so perfectly through my pregnancy. I didn't starve myself. I ate what I wanted. I just ate clean. I didn't eat processed foods. I didn't eat fried foods. I don't ever do that anyway. So I just ate the same way. I ate all organic and had Max. And most people know that I nursed him for quite a long time. But I think just that combination of not letting myself get completely out of shape while I was pregnant and then nursing after I had Max got me pretty much back in shape after 6 weeks, and then by 4 months I was thinner and more fit than before I got pregnant. Because nursing is like doing cardio, except you're sitting on the sofa. It's awesome. I always had really strong stomach muscles. I've always had abs, so, you know, I just kind of popped them out and the abs were back. It was pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm the kind of person that likes to stay in the present, so I don't know where I'm going from here. I'm just gonna play as much pool as my schedule allows, and I'm going to enjoy it more than I ever have before and see where that takes me. Things for me just seem to pop up. I've been very lucky. I did lose sponsors when I took the time off. The hardest thing I had to do was call my sponsors and say, stop sending checks. I am taking a year off. I don't even know if I said a year. I said I'm leaving the tour. But when I got back on tour, I was pretty surprised that a couple of new sponsors came my way. One of them being Mez Cues. They're terrific. And I switched cues, and I love my new cue. Yvonne Belmonte cue cases, and Amsterdam Billiard Club. They treat me so well, and I could never, well, I could probably afford to practice, but it definitely makes it better that they treat me so well when I'm there. I've done a couple challenge matches. I did one against Romana a while back. We had an exhibition match with, actually with Yudam Cha at Amsterdam. That was about, I'm going to say, that was about 6 weeks after I had Max. And I ended up winning that one. So that was kind of cool. I guess one of the special relationships that I have would be with Ginky. He has always been so supportive of my game, and he wrote me a letter once saying that I should never forget that I'm a champion, and that he liked the way that I played, and that meant a lot to me, because at the time when he was saying that, I don't think that I had really done anything on tour yet but he saw something in me. And I guess the other person, not a pro, but a writer, would be Mike Geffner. He got a lot of crap for writing a story about me before I actually did anything, but we used to practice a lot, and he's practiced with the top women, and he really saw something in me, and he felt that I was going to really make a mark on the WPBA. And about a tournament or two after he wrote that article, I ended up finishing third in the Florida Classic and beating the #1 player on TV. And he thanked me for that after. He's like, thanks for not making me look like a chump. Because apparently the hate mail rolled into Billiards Digest when I showed up on the cover. But whatever, who cares? People who hate on other players are usually people who don't feel very good about themselves. This is what I've come to realize. They don't feel good about themselves, so it makes them feel slightly better, or maybe not, to try to tear somebody else down and take something away from someone else. So you could sit at home hating, but I'm out there doing it, and I'm not going to stop. I am hoping my son doesn't want to play pool. If I had a daughter, I would say yes. I think that the women's tour is professional and organized, and we're on ESPN. I think it's a great thing for a woman. But until the men have an organized tour that can provide them with some kind of living, I mean, I see how these guys live. They're tournament to tournament. They're on the road all the time. They get very little back for what they put in. And to play at the level of the men, you have to give up your entire childhood. Most of them dropped out of school. I just want better for my son. If he wants to play pool, I will support it 100%. But I am definitely going to be taking him to play tennis and play golf and baseball. You know, what are you going to do? He's going to pick what he wants to do. I'm not going to pick it for him. My next tournament is in Lincoln City, Oregon. It's about 6 hours by plane and then about 2 hours by car. But once you get there, it's the most beautiful place you've ever seen. It's right on the beach. You can see dolphins in the waves outside, you know, out the window. It's really cool. It's worth it once you get there. Well, I started at the pool school with Mark Finkelstein, and I wanted to take my game to the next level. So I asked around, and the same name kept coming up, Tony Robles, Tony Robles. So I hunted him down, and I took lessons for a bunch of years, and he taught me a ton about the game. And then I guess when he felt like there were other parts of the game that he didn't feel that he could teach me, he referred me to my mentor, Stu Matana. And Stu taught me all of the strategic and tactical parts of the game. And that combination, I mean, I just feel like so fortunate, like to have had Tony and then had Stu. I just would not be the player that I am today without that. And Tony and I are still very close, and Stu and I still play once a week. So it's really cool. I'm just going to keep playing. I think I'll always play. I don't know how long I'm going to play competitively. You know, I'm having a good time on tour right now. We'll see how long that lasts. I feel like I still have more to accomplish. But I don't think too far into the future. I'm just going to enjoy it right now and see where it goes. Yeah, I've ended up in a lot of, you know, hottest athlete things, like the ESPN 25 hottest athletes, the In Game Now top 16 hottest athletes, you know, a lot of that stuff. And It's fun, it's cute, but it's business to me. Every time I end up doing something like that, it just draws sponsors' attention. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't go to the pool hall in a bikini. I'm pretty reserved. It's not really who I am. I'm a tomboy at heart. I don't teeter around in heels and low-cut shirts. It's just an image that I portray, and it's an image that I sell, so that I can make a living doing what I love. I've been away for weeks at a time, going to one tournament to the next. I had, at one point, a WPBA event, and I flew into Newark that day, and then that night I left for Taiwan. And it was for the World Championships. At the time, I was one of the top American players, so I was invited. And they lost my cues on the way to the tournament. So I had to play with somebody else's cue while I was there. And I still managed to finish ninth. I beat Kelly Fisher, who was, at the time, the favorite in the event. It was either her or Jasmine Ocean that they were predicting would probably win it. So that was kind of cool to do with somebody else's cue and with a 16-hour time difference. And the minute my plane landed, I checked my cell phone, and I had a message from Newark Airport, and they said, "We found your bag. Come pick it up, or we are going to start assessing a holding fee to hold your cue." As if I wanted them to hold my cue for me, as if I didn't want to bring it with me on the trip. So I went and got it. Pool is always a game of ups and downs. I feel like I'm pretty good at staying positive, and yeah, I had moments of doubt where I felt like I'm just not cut out for this, or you know, whatever it is. But I'm generally a positive person. I don't even look at the negative side of things. It doesn't help anything. I'm not big on talking about problems. I'm big about talking about solutions. So I think that's helped me avoid those downturns. The name of the movie is Nine Ball. A lot of people ask me about it. About 5 years ago, a fellow player got me in touch with the producer, director, and I was going to audition for a role as myself, just to maybe say something to the star of the film or whatever. And while I was there, he asked me to read for the lead role. And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he was serious. So he gave me the lines, and I did the reading. I had done some acting in college, so I knew a little bit about it. And did the reading, and he gave me the role. 5 years went by, long time, and suddenly he called me out of the blue, and he had gotten sponsorship money, a good bit of it, to start filming the movie. And I had had past experiences where we did a little bit of filming. It wasn't terribly professional, so I was kind of dreading it this last time when I showed up to film some more. And I had to go all the way down to the DC area, Virginia. And when I showed up, there was top of the line camera, like a Hollywood camera. There was a director of photography. There was grips and gaffers and just an entire crew. It was so impressive. And when I watched the playbacks, I was like, wow, this could really happen. And I started to get excited, where before I was kind of dreading it. Now I'm actually excited about it. So hopefully it'll be done by the end of the year. We filmed some of it. We filmed like 3 or 4 scenes, and there's plans to film the rest of it before the end of the year. And then the editing will be done, early next year. Well, I guess the reason that Tony Palma wanted me to read for the role is because the lead character, basically, my life was like the lead character. She starts out in the APA, she wants to go pro, and it's about her life getting there. So I guess I could identify with that pretty well. I've done quite a few talk shows. I've done McEnroe, and I did America's Nightly Scoreboard, and Best Damn Sports Show, and had a walk-on role on One Life to Live, and also did some behind-the-scenes consulting. One of the characters was a pool hustler. And I'm sure there's other stuff that I'm completely forgetting, but I've had a lot of television experience. One time when I was in Broadway Billiards, also now closed, so sad. Somebody put me in action against a guy named, he's been around for a long time. I still see him here and there, actually. He had only seen me play when I first started. I had gotten so much better, but he didn't know. And we played and I won. And when he handed me the money, I felt like I was taking his last nickel, or that I was taking his Social Security check and he was going to be eating out of dumpsters for the next week. And I felt so bad. I just didn't ever want to do it again. But somebody said to me, well, if you don't take it, somebody else will. Gambling never really did it for me, so I'll just let somebody else take it and let them make people eat out of dumpsters. It's just not me. Thank you.